Panther Party stand concerning the weathermen, the SDS?
We stand way back from the SDS and the weathermen because we believe that the weathermen action, there's two actions. It's RIM 2 and weathermen. We think they call them both national action. We think that RIM 2 is national action, weatherman is national reaction, you know. We think it is anarchistic, opportunistic, individualistic, it's chauvinistic, it's custoristic, and that's the bad part about it. It's custoristic in that its leaders take people into situations where the people can be massacred, and they call it revolution. And it's nothing but child's play, it's folly, and it's criminal because people can be hurt. We say that they're doing exactly what the pigs want them to do. When they take people down and just do nothing, play around, and the pigs are prepared for this, and they'll wipe all of those young people out. We think these people may be sincere, but they're misguided, they're muddleheads, and they're scatterbrains. The only way we can show them is to criticize them like we're doing right now, and then leave from here and go to the federal building and have a demonstration that's to educate, a demonstration that is disciplined and organized, you know. And that's what we're going to have to do, and let them see the examples.
Tell me why you feel the approach of the SDS weatherman is wrong.
I feel it is wrong. Just as I said before.
Don't tell me just you said before. That's why I asked you again. Just answer straight, just in case we use this part.
You feel that it's wrong.
Let me ask you again. Why do you feel that the approach of the SDS weatherman is the wrong approach?
I feel that it's wrong because it's pig action. You see, they're doing exactly what the pigs want them to do. They're leading people into a situation where it's an astronomical situation, too great for the people to deal with. It's a situation where you got a bunch of mechanical pigs with 357 Magnums and shotguns and mechanical mace and all that type of thing. And then they're talking about they're going to carry on a revolutionary struggle. That's not revolution, it's insanity, it's madness, it's nostalgia, and it's a massacre. That's what it's potential massacre, that's what it is. And we don't support that because we've said all power to the people. All the power is manifested in the people. We don't have any people whose lives we believe that should be thrown away.
Has the weatherman SDS tried to get you to go on their side? Have you met with them, and what happened?
We met with the weatherman faction of SDS several times. We've had ideological struggles and we have ideological differences. So what we did was we had the other faction of SDS that agreed with the Black Panther Party called for an alternate action, a well-disciplined action not to provoke pigs, an action not to talk about setting up confrontations with the pigs because the people are not ready for confrontation. These confrontations that they have are premature. They're politically premature and they're wrong because they commit people in a situation which they're not anywhere prepared for.
Well, why do you think the weatherman SDS tried to link the Black Panther Party to its movement?
I don't know if it was actually the weathermen of SDS. I'd have to say that it was the establishment press that is nothing but a tool of Warden Nixon's machine. We call him Warden Nixon because the whole world is a penitentiary and he's just a warden of the whole world. And you see, these people are just an arm that he uses for fascist oppression, you know. And I think today these fascist news media might have did that.
Now, briefly, how would you sum up what the weatherman SDS is trying to do and what you think of what they're trying to do?
I'd say that basically they believe that white people need to learn how to struggle. That they believe that these white workers need to learn how to struggle through confrontations. I'd have to say that basically I believe that this is incorrect. I believe that white workers have been struggling. They're some of the most violent people in the world. I believe that what they need is they need a redirection in their ideology and in their politics. They need to know who to struggle against. The workers need to start to begin to learn that their job is to struggle against the bosses. And until they do this, then struggle is incorrect. It's like no struggle at all. We say that if you don't struggle correctly, you shouldn't struggle. But you should struggle. We said dare to struggle and you dare to win, and dare not to struggle and you don't deserve to win. But we have to struggle properly.
What about the special approach of weatherman, which seems to be violence?
Well, you see, I don't think it's really violence, you know what I mean? I think it's just a lot of folly, a lot of child's play. I think that to have violence, you've got to be able to cope with violence, you know what I mean? And that's what the Black Panther, see, the Black Panther Party, a lot of people say we're violent. We're a self-defense organization that believes that the people should be educated what's going on. Yes, we do defend our offices and we do defend our homes. This is a constitutional right. Everybody has it. There's nothing funny about that. The only reason they get mad at the Black Panther Party when they do it is for the simple reason that we're political. And they don't want to admit this. There are a lot of young organizations around, but we're a political organization. We're an organization that understands that politics is nothing but war without bloodshed, and war is nothing but politics with bloodshed. That it's just like you stretch something, and it goes, you can stretch things, they're going to be in another thing. If you stretch politics so long, it'll be war, and that's where we're at.
Blood on the floor never dried, it just soaked into the blueprints of empire. Fred Hampton wasn't lost he was executed. At 21 years old, the state drugged him, stormed his home, and fired close to 100 rounds into a man who preached unity louder than any gunshot. The FBI called it COINTELPRO. Chicago cops called it a raid, but every honest mouth calls it what it is: murder with a badge. William O'Neill poisoned the cup, snitched the floor plan, and walked away with a paycheck while Hampton's body was dragged out under the flash of police cameras. That is not history, it's the operating manual of America. Free breakfast terrified the rulers because it proved the people could feed each other without begging. 20,000 children ate in 1969 because the Panthers turned kitchens into revolution, and the government's response was to raid churches and call eggs threats. You want to know why? Because a full stomach gives a kid strength to learn and fight, and a generation raised on dignity cannot be ruled with hunger. Courts pretended justice in 1982 with a $1.85 million hush payment, crumbs thrown at grieving families while the killers collected pensions. 40 years later, prisons still consume nearly 2 million human beings, locked inside 1,566 state prisons, 98 federal ones, and over 3,000 county cages. That's not public safety, that is slavery modernized, run by budgets and lobbyists instead of whips. Every year, families bleed out $2.9 billion in bail, commissary, calls, and fees. Legalized theft disguised as justice. Hampton's words still cut sharper than any sermon. You can kill a revolutionary, but you cannot kill the revolution. He organized black kids, Puerto Rican street gangs, and broke white workers into one front. And that scared the government more than guns ever could. The state killed him to stop that dream. But 46 years later, the same neighborhoods still bleed under cops, landlords, and pipelines. Remembrance without rage is nothing but decoration. Rage without discipline is just noise. The lesson Hampton left is structure, solidarity, and steel. Build kitchens, clinics, unions, and defense teams, then guard them like your own blood. Reject charity politics. Reject liberal applause. Reject every attempt to cage resistance in nonprofits and campaign slogans. Fred Hampton did not die so his face could be put on a mural and forgotten. He died because he showed us how to win. If you want to honor him, don't light a candle, light up the streets, shut down the raids, feed the hungry, free the caged, and make damn sure the next time the state tries to snuff out our leaders, they find entire communities too organized to kill.
I'll tell you why, Reverend Mitchell, because I'm sick and tired of you standing up there on a television camera, a black man with a
kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, all of these things will be added.
Heaven is on earth.
Mind you, brother.
Where you gonna go when we start revolution? Whose side are you gonna be on? Are you still gonna be on your knees begging for us jobs?
I will die standing up for God, regardless of any circumstance.
Have God ever told you to let this white man rule you like he is?
You first must be born again. God is a spirit.
I ain't born again. I ain't got to be born again. Your mother could have brainwashed you, but can't nobody brainwash me. I'm ready. It's gonna take young boys like us to win the revolution.
The white peoples realize today that they was wrong for enslaving the Negro. The great mass. May I finish?
No, I don't believe that. The white man is gonna keep you where he got you. You're not going no higher than he wants you to go. And we ain't gonna settle for nothing about this violence and non-violence. I'm for violence. because we have pleaded for the last 400 years.
I will definitely have to use the Bible, Mr. Duncan.
No, I don't want to hear that.
Well, this is my only way.
I ain't no Uncle Tom. You can't brainwash me.
Jesus said,
I'll tell you why, Reverend Mitchell, because I'm sick and tired of you standing up there on a television camera, a black man with a white heart and a white face. You're a black Anglo-Saxon, you're a disgrace to the race to stand up about a white man loving you. Ask Medgar Evers' wife. Ask Jimmy Lee Jackson's mother. Understand? Ask Grace Louise of 5 children who was shot in the head because he's riding with a black boy in the car. You stand there and talk like an unmitigated fool.
Wherever there are 5 or more Negroes congregated, they move in, they break up. I know what I'm talking about. They break up those groups and they shuttle everybody off to jail. Now, sooner or later, there are going to be enough families deprived of their breadwinners and their loved ones that Chicago isn't going to be cool, regardless of how much praying Reverend Mitchell does.
As I was going back to see, he pointed out for me that I could go back when I want to. Go back to where? You mean to Africa? Do you mean to Africa? Do you mean to Africa? We are not Africans no more. You have raped our great-grandmothers and stuff and changed us.
Excuse me.
We are not, let me finish. And gave us a name as a Negro. I am not a Negro. A Negro is a person with a slave at the man. I just want to tell you that. And don't say nothing else to me.
Sir?
You're the one that's crying the loudest.
Who's crying, baby? I'm not crying. Do you know the difference between defiance and a cry? You're talking to a black man, baby. I don't cry to white folks.
I talk to them all
I'm
my
talking to my
life.
people, not even to you.
I talk to them all my life.
You're singing the blues.
But you're blaming us. We got a right to stand up and defend ourselves.
Defend yourself. I glory in your spunk, baby.
Hold it, Mr. Meek.
But wipe the blood off your hands before you
There ain't
smile.
no blood on mine.
All right,
We said that if you don't struggle correctly, you shouldn't struggle. But you should struggle. We said dare to struggle and you dare to win. Dare not to struggle and you don't deserve to win. But we have to struggle properly. If we tell them that we don't believe in demonstration for the sake of demonstration, we believe in demonstration for the sake of education, and we still go on that basic theory. We believe that people need to be educated if we ever want to defend ourselves against the fascism that's running rampant in the United States of America and all over the world today. The Black Panther Party is the most disciplined organization in the country, and the pigs still attack the Black Panther Party office. So that shows that we're still doing something to the power structure, but we don't have to do it in a way where we put people's lives on the line. That's not necessary, and we try to tell them that.
We talk about freedom of speech. We are talking about something substantive, and we're not simply talking about a formal notion of freedom of speech. And those who would call for the right to speak freely in order to openly prevent others from having rights and liberties that are guaranteed them by the Constitution. I mean, I think that is a contradiction in terms. I mean, if you're going to allow somebody to be free to advocate genocide, if you're going to allow somebody to be free to organize genocide, to organize murder and racism, then that doesn't make any sense at all. I think it's very clear. Serious fighter against racism, any form of injustice, poverty, imperialism, war. You have to talk about organizing masses of people. This is why we call this press conference. We call this press conference to inform you and hopefully so that you would inform the people that we are building a movement to ensure that Yvonne Golden is not convicted, to ensure that she does not become a scapegoat for those who are the real criminals in the city. And that is the way you build mass movements. That is the way you build political struggle. You do not do those things which will alienate the people. You do not do those things which will push people further away from you, but you do those things which will draw people into your movement, draw people into your struggle, draw all people who are seriously interested in fighting injustices.
Because before the police ever kicked in that door, somebody had already drawn them a map. Fred Hampton was only 21 years old, but in Chicago, he was becoming one of the most powerful young voices in America. He wasn't just talking revolution. He was feeding kids, organizing poor Black, white, and Latino communities, and building what became known as the Rainbow Coalition. That's what made him dangerous to the system. Not just the speeches, the unity. The FBI had a program called COINTELPRO, designed to disrupt and neutralize groups they considered threats. And Hampton's Black Panther chapter was deep on their radar. Inside the Panthers was William O'Neill, an FBI informant who gained trust, became part of security, and reportedly gave authorities the layout of Hampton's apartment before the raid. Then came December 4th, 1969. Before dawn, officers tied to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office raided the apartment. Mark Clark was killed first. Fred Hampton was in bed beside his pregnant fiancée. According to later findings and historical records, police fired nearly 100 shots, while evidence showed the Panthers fired only a couple. Hampton was shot and killed in his bedroom. They called it a raid, but history remembers it as an assassination. And the wildest part? The story wasn't just that Fred Hampton died. It's that the setup started long before the bullets. So was Fred Hampton killed because he was violent or because he was effective? Follow OC Street Files, because history gets real different when you read the paperwork.
The only way you counteract institutional racism is to build power inside your community to counteract it. You cannot counteract it through individual approaches. That means that the knowledge that you acquire here, you must bring back to the black community to benefit that community instead of going to work for IBM, General Motors, or Gulf Oil, or some corporation like that that does not begin to benefit black people, only benefits you and this country, because it helps to perpetuate the lies about a democracy. So that's, I think, one of the major differences between black power and what they call integration. And it's so called integration because if you knew anything about integration, you would know it's a two-way stream. It's a two-way stream. And I haven't seen any white people fighting to get into your schools from Georgia. I haven't seen any in Mississippi fighting to go. So what they're doing is draining from our communities the best that we have. Because you know in order to go to their schools, we got to send the best representative we have. So they take the very best from our schools and send them over there to sit with their uncivilized children. Their parents throw bricks and bottles at us so we can walk through and sit next to them. Later for the white community, let them civilize themselves. We've got our own problems. That's what's wrong. In the city of Atlanta, we have advocated a political program in terms of independent politics. The population of this city is 40% black, adult. We can control this city if black people had guts. We would come together and independently organize that force, that 40% force, and while white people were fighting between the Democrat and Republican Party, we would take over this city lock, stock, and barrel. That's black power. That's black power. You ought to recognize how this city lies. When, what's the big-headed fellow's name? Maddox. When Maddox ran against the progressive racist who's now mayor of this city, Ivan Allen, Maddox received more votes in the white community than did Allen. Do you know that? And the Negro leadership of this town told black people to vote for Allen. And it is our votes that put Allen into office. And you call this a progressive town where most of the white people voted for Maddox. And the very first thing that Allen did was to move us out from the Boulevard section and build $1 million stadium and didn't even worry to find houses for us. That's because we are not organized as an independent force to stop the abuses of power that is penetrated upon us. And if we're about to stop them, we must organize ourselves independently. I guess we can stop and go on for questions. McNamara says,
How about you? All right, if I can see some hands.
It is precisely because Dr. Du Bois recognized the humanity of mankind that he gave up on this damn country. It is precisely because he recognized that. And if you are to read Dr. Du Bois' writings after 1904, and you can even start with The Soul of Black Folk, which is 1904, 1905, and 1906, his collective of essays, it shows clearly that he begins to deviate from that conception. He was the man who helped to start the NAACP with the Niagara Convention and left the NAACP over the same ideological questions. It is clear in my mind It is crystal clear in my mind that what white America wants and her Negro allies is to make black people the moral conscience of this country, and they have no right to do it. This country is immoral. White people made it immoral. It is their job to clean it up. We have to worry about ourselves for a change.
Mr. Carmichael doesn't strengthen his case or anybody else's by saying that he wants to become immoral like other people too, because they are immoral.
No good, baby. I've said very clearly, it is not our job to make America moral, white America. We are to be concerned with us. That is not to say that one imitates onto the level of immorality. It is precisely in the concept of black power that you state black people stop imitating white society, but rather begin to create for themselves, because white society has nothing to offer us. Its entire society is based on what is anti-black, clearly. And that is the trick bag that black people have always followed by trying to imitate white America. That is not to say you stoop to her morality, you forget about her.
I'd really like to ask two questions. First, I'd like to ask Reverend Williams, perhaps I misunderstood what you said. I think I heard you say that the new housing code has been drawn up to cause Negroes to live in one area. And I'd like, did you say anything about the housing code?
No, I said nothing about a housing code. I said some 10 or more years ago, there was a sort of unwritten agreement with certain people in this town that Negroes would live in the West Side.
Oh, okay. And I wanted to ask you also, I thought you said that poverty remains because we lack the will to do something about it. And if you did make that statement, I'd like to ask you to explain this will.
What I said was that this nation is rich enough, it has sufficient technological understanding and know-how to eliminate and to alleviate poverty. The only reason poverty remains with us is that the nation lacks the will, power, to go ahead and do something about it. And all I mean by will, it wants to do it.
And I want to comment about your last questions. I think that Dr. Williams is naively incorrect about his assumptions about poverty. Poverty is well calculated in this country. That is why it exists. This is the richest country in the world. If they wanted to get rid of it, they would. They would. There's a difference between will and calculated, because my next statement is the calculators of poverty run this country. That's the difference. That's the difference. You've got to understand that. That means the people who are rich continue to run this country, and they're not going to turn it over to poor people. There's a difference between will. No, will implies that they really want to, but you know, they're sort of nice guys, but they don't have the umption to do it, see? And calculated means that you have it planned that people stay poor, and that the people who run the country have it planned that way. There's a big difference. Now, I say that is precisely the teachings that America teaches black people. And that for us to begin to have a new concept of ourselves, we must negate all of the teachings that white America has taught about black people. That is number one. You then say, number two, that you move within your own group to organize yourself independently first, and then decide what is it your group wants. Then you can move on. In the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, we feel that the third world is going to be important to relationships around this world, because we don't bite our tongue. We say the United States is the aggressor in Vietnam, and will not only be the aggressor in Vietnam, but will be the aggressor in Santo Domingo, the Dominican Republic, South Africa, Ghana, wherever they go. They exploit, rape, and plunder non-white people. Therefore, it is to our advantage to understand outside of the world the relationship then of the non-white world to us, since our philosophy and ideology cannot come from the white world. Our very introduction to this country was that of slavery. We were brought here not for our benefit, for the benefit of white people. The overall economic program of this country in the last 20 years has widened the gap between black people and white people. That means that the overall economic program of this country does not benefit black people, and you can go right on down the line. It just shows that wherever this country has gone, it's moved against us, against us. The war in Vietnam is against us. McNamara says he's going to draft it is clear to me that he's putting them on the front lines, and that we have to understand the very people who, you know who Spelman was named after, don't you? Well, you know what I think about him, don't you? Well, Rockefeller is the cat who gives a lot of money to this college. You call him a philanthropist. He ain't nothing but a thief. He steals money from South Africa. The Rockefeller Empire controls the Chase Manhattan Bank, which controls the economy of South Africa. And the money that he steals from black people in South Africa, he gives to you, so you can keep your mouth shut. Du Bois said that!
I want to ask Mr. Carmichael a question. He is a very gifted young man at innuendo. He is a very...
One of my problems is that our so-called Negro leaders have never taught nonviolence among us, where it belongs, where it should start. We should begin to learn nonviolence among us. But certainly, Dr. Williams, I do not think you can deny the fact that while most students, especially girls, wear their Nat and Nola cream to look light and bright, it certainly has some psychological effect upon them, that whenever your colleges pick homecoming queens, they're always light, bright, and beautiful. You certainly could not deny the fact that a beautiful woman in this country is someone who has got a thin nose, thin lips, stringy hair, and is white. You certainly cannot deny that. So the opposite of that, which is us, broad nose, thick lips, black with nappy hair, is ugly. And that what you have to do then is to begin to say that white people set the criteria for beauty for the white race. We will define the criteria for beauty for the black race. All right. After having said a definition where black people are not ashamed of themselves, then they can begin to come together. That's what white folk don't want. Dig it? Now, you have them come together as a unified force. See, you're absolutely wrong in your thinking if you think a majority ever rules a country. It is a unified minority. Everybody knows that. And if in Atlanta, Georgia, you got 40% of the people united, you have the largest minority united. The black people in this country represent the largest minority. That's what the real trouble is. We control 100 congressional districts in this country outright by our numbers, and we produce it like rabbits every day. Every day. So that it is crystal clear that by sheer number you have a unified minority. You can control effectively all sorts of political decisions that affect your people as a need, so that you can certainly move then politically. Once you control the politics of your community, you can begin to control the economics. Oh, one other thing is that Dr. Williams just tried to imply, like most white folk do, that, them kids in SNCC, they just yell black power, ain't got no sense. So I just want to read to you some stuff that you don't even read. This comes from what is entitled the 20 largest stockholders' records in member banks of the Federal Reserve System, House of Representatives, Subcommittee on Domestic Finance, Committee on Banking and Currency, Washington, 1964, page. What?
Do you...
I'm sure you wouldn't want to.
I want to ask, do you teach nonviolence?
No. A matter of fact, we say in SNCC, if a white man try to shoot us, we're going to kill him before God get the news. So we say, if white people don't want to be shot, let them keep their hands off of us. Our black parents made us. No white people don't chastise us. Don't chastise us. No, I do not teach nonviolence.
In regards to...
You don't? First of all, you shouldn't say 10%. I have a thing about that, because I think white folks lie. I know black people more than 10%. I just know it. I just know it. That's right. That's right, sir. I know we more than 10%. Because we in every major city, we in the Army, we in the South, and we still multiplying. We got to be more than 10%. That's the first thing. But secondly, you don't have to be concerned about 10%. You're not asking for this country. You're asking for the right to govern and to rule your community. That's what you're asking. You're asking for white people to stop exploiting you. That's all. So that 10% has nothing to do with it. Don't you believe that people should rule themselves where they live?
Suggests that in many